This cashier was working. She enthusiastically welcomed every customer, even the homeless. Suddenly, two bad guys appeared. The cashier immediately tied her hair up, took a gun from under the table, and opened fire without hesitation. Dared to rob my store, and she pulled out a dagger and hit a guy, acting very decisively without a single extra move. Then she took her bag and left. This scene made Jimmy so scared that he didn't dare to move. After confirming that there was no danger around, he got up and left. He was afraid that he wouldn't pay for the goods shot by the cashier. Jimmy drove away. On the way, he kept remembering the scene just now. At this moment, the cashier from earlier appeared behind him, making Jimmy cry. In Chinese, he quickly said that he had already paid. At this time, the bad guy's car was also chasing. She opened fire, broke the glass, and attacked the car behind. But it was not suitable for long-range shooting, so she switched to a loaded pistol and responded. Quickly dealt with the opponent. Then she leisurely sat in the passenger seat. Jimmy saw the car. The bad guy crashed onto the bridge. At this time, Jimmy's pants were almost wet. She even invited him to eat. He didn't dare to refuse. It was better to eat than to get shot. It turned out that she was a gang killer because she was so disgusted with the scene of killing people. She withdrew from the underworld, opened a supermarket. But because she knew too much about the gang, that's why the boss was chasing her. Jimmy was just a local lawyer. His daily job was defending clients. Not long before Jimmy's brother was drunk and had an accident, died, Jimmy still couldn't forget the pain, because to fulfill his brother's wish, this trip of his was to brother's ashes. Down the beach unexpectedly, he met her halfway. Jimmy's thoughts were very simple. Must go to the police to clarify the situation she heard, and immediately rejected and said, unless he drove her to the beach and then drove away secretly, otherwise she would denounce Jimmy as an accomplice. He had no choice but to agree. At the same time, the boss also sent two assassins to the supermarket to chase her. They quickly discovered that she had gotten into Jimmy's car, so they followed their direction to chase her. At this time, she and Jimmy had eaten and started on the road. They had not been gone for long when a problem occurred. Jimmy did not know how to repair cars and checked for a while. And cursed at that moment, she directly checked very quickly, found the problem gradually. Her skills were very professional. The car quickly worked again. But when they were about to leave, the assassin's car chased. When they got close, she suddenly appeared from the side after knocking down two people, then fighting two big men alone, although the opponent was bigger than her. But she used to be a top assassin. They were nothing to her in less than 3 minutes. The two assassins were beaten to a pulp. Suddenly, one of them threatened her with a gun. She pretended to surrender, taking advantage of that moment to counterattack, saying that she had a weapon and pulled the trigger at the critical moment. She didn't say much, holding the gun and hitting the opponent. The other one rushed to control her, resulting in her beating her to a pulp continued. Following that, the two assassins tried their best to catch her. One of them sneaked up on her from behind. She also refused to be outdone. Immediately knocked the opponent down, but he still stood up. He pulled out a dagger and attacked her. She lifted her foot and kicked the dagger away, then somersaulted to pick up the dagger and sent the assassin away. Met the King of Hell Jimmy on the side. Also had his eyes wide open and his eyes flat. Following her in his heart, a little admiration at this time. Elise and female assassin Natasha appeared, quickly drew their guns, so they opened fire. She attacked first. She threw a dagger and punctured their tire. Then the two drivers left. They thought they were out of danger, but unexpectedly, there was someone chasing her from behind. She leisurely tied her hair up. Then, Jimmy drove to distract the enemy. Then she jumped out of the car and took the crew's bow and arrow, and rode a horse to chase Theo. It immediately turned into a war, sending the assassin to hell with one shot. The enemy still wanted to shoot, but was hit by an arrow. The battle ended with this series of actions, making Jimmy convinced. When Elise and Natasha appeared, only the bodies of the two underlings remained. Because it was getting dark, Jimmy took her home to rest here for the night and continue on his way tomorrow. The man and woman were in the same room. The atmosphere became sweeter than expected. They had a passionate night. The next day, they discovered that the car was missing because in the car was the urn of Jimmy's brother's ashes. They had to find a way to find the car when they didn't know where to look. Suddenly, there was a plane in the sky. Jimmy immediately had a bold idea to steal the helicopter. The two were extremely excited and quickly discovered the gang's base. So the two of them immediately landed and secretly sneaked into the gang's base, preparing to take action. She quickly attacked a guard. Then she took an AK gun and aimed at another guard, pulled the trigger, and sent the opponent to the underworld. Then the two continued to go deeper inside. There were many armed molecules there. Didn't say much and immediately opened fire, taking down the opponent. Each bullet hit one person. In a few moments, the surrounding enemies were destroyed. They quickly discovered that Ra's car had been stolen, but as they were about to leave, she was knocked unconscious. They fell into a trap. When they woke up, they were tied up. At this time, Elise and Natasha came over. Natasha started cursing and mocking them. But at this time, Elise told everyone to put down their weapons and leave this matter to him to handle. It turned out that he liked her, so he wanted to give her a chance, and said that as long as she returned to the gang, she would be guaranteed to live, but she refused. Elise was angry and took Jimmy's life and threatened her. He had no choice but to agree to go with the opponent. Napasa got jealous and pulled out a gun, wanting to eliminate her to consolidate his position in the gang, but was immediately shot down by Elise on the spot. Then he continued to eliminate the people around Alice and took her away from here. Jimmy was now trying to escape from the rope. Natasha was still alive. The shot just now did not hit the vital spot. Jimmy knew that once Natasha stood up, he would definitely do more harm than good. He advised her to give up her guard. The enemy of her enemy is her friend. Can we cooperate? Meanwhile, free from the rope, pick up the gun and kill Natasha. He drives his car away. He quickly chases after Elise, who is in the car and sees Jimmy. She smiles triumphantly. Eric got angry. He would end this. He stopped the car and pointed a gun at her, forcing Jimmy to choose between protecting her or his brother's ashes. Seeing Jimmy not saying anything, Elise immediately threw the urn of ashes into the stream. Jimmy was so angry that he wanted to explode, but Elise had a gun. He just endured and begged the other side to let her go. That time, she was still the one who took action. Alice down the hill, even though she couldn't scatter Jimmy's brother's ashes into the sea. But this was also the road that led to the sea at the end of the story. Jimmy drove her to the sea, and the two were happy together.